Bhajan Rahasya by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And we're on the chapter dealing with Sakti. Again, I'll do this after we chant the bhajan. I'm going to summarize the whole bhajan Rahasya in a second, like I usually do, for those who are just joining us. But let's chant Lalasa Mayi Prarthana by Narottama Das Thakur. Gorangabo Lite Hale Polakachari Adiyade Murite Nayane Chandra Corona Hoibe Samsara Bhashana Mura Kabe Chucha Vishaya Jadiya Kabe Shula Be Mana Kabe Hama Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribo, 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 Jago, Haribo, 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 Jaya Jaya, Prabhupada, Mother Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jai Om Vishnu Pad. Paramahansa, Bharatacharya, all Satana, Satashi, Shimad, His Divine Grace, Abhaya, Chadanada, Bhaktivedanta, Goswami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, ISKCON Founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti, Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya, Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shivasiti Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Sai Mukunda Radha Krishna Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavanam Ki Jai, Mathuram Ki Jai, Jagadha Swami Ki Jai, Yamunamai Ki Jai, Shrimati Lasi Devi Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nama Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prastaya Bhutale, Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami, Chinamani Namaste, Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharani Nivashesha Shunyavadi, Paschatya Deja Tarane, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Let us read the translation to this poem by Narottam Das Thakur. When will the opportune moment come to me when I shiver upon chanting the name of Lord Gauranga? When will I cry while chanting Hare Krishna? When will I receive the causeless mercy of Lord Nityananda so that my desires for material enjoyment become insignificant? When will my mind be purified of material anxieties and desires so that I can understand Vrindavana? When shall I be very eager to study the books left by the 6 Goswamis so that I can understand the conjugal love of Radha and Krishna? The lotus feet of the 6 Goswamis are my only shelter and constant separation from them. I remain Narottam Das. Thakur Ki Jai. So we're going to continue with our study of the Bhajan Rahasya by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And just to summarize again really quickly, some of you may be joining us for the first time here. The Bhajan Rahasya is a book that talks about the different stages of devotional service, beginning with initial faith and culminating with Krishna Prema. And it corresponds, this book draws a correspondence between each of those stages of devotional service as we progress and become more Krishna conscious, with each verse of the Shikshashika prayers by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Pretty good. And it also draws a correspondence between each of those 8 verses and each of the 8 stages of devotional service, progressive stages, and the time of Krishna's day. It's called the Ashtakali Leela, what Krishna does at each time of the day. So, very exciting correspondence. And we mentioned yesterday that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur goes one step further and draws other correspondences too, especially the correspondence between each of the 8 pairs of the holy names in the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. You got Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That's 8. Okay? So, anyway, So now we are on the discussion, or in the discussion, of what's called Asakti, the platform of Asakti, which means complete attachment to Krishna, which also means complete detachment from things in this material world. And after Asakti, there's Bhava, Prema, and then also after the stage of Prema, you get one other stage, which is called a Vipralamba Prema. Okay. But let's get into this point right now, how to get completely attached to Krishna, so attached that whenever you try to think of Maya, your mind wanders back to Krishna. Right now, as I mentioned yesterday, whenever we try to think of Krishna, our mind wanders back to Maya, back to home, back to Maya. So we should think of Krishna, but the only way to think of Krishna is if we're attracted and attached to Krishna, and we get that way by serving the great Vaishnavas who are attached and attracted to Krishna. Mahatseva Mahurvi Vuktes. All right, let's continue with the study of the Bhajan Rahasya. So, Om Gana Timidandasha Gananjana Shlakaya Chakshurnan Meditam Yena Tasmai Shigurave Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge while I was blinded in the darkness of ignorance. Okay, so let us share the screen. Here we go. Bhajan Rahasya. All right, and move the chat window over so we can see it better. Okay, let's go. So we're in this, we read this first verse here yesterday. And so let's go into the second verse here. This is page 57 of 90 pages. We're almost finished. So, okay. This is how to achieve, what mood to have to achieve the mood of Sakti, or this platform of the Sakti. Tanna prasidha Vijinardana tengi mulam prapta vishvajavasatishtvad upasanaksa tatsundara smita nirikshana tivrakama taptatmanam purusha bhushana dehi dasham. Therefore, O vanquisher all distress, please show us mercy to approach your lotus feet. There's the gopi speaking, of course. We abandon our families and homes, and we have no desire other than to serve you. Our hearts are burning with intense desires generated by your beautiful, smiling glances. O jewel among men, please make us your maidservants. So, there's several important words here. Intense desires. Smita nirikshana tivra kama. That's interesting. The Sanskrit words are quite interesting here. Tivra sometimes means forceful or intense. Tivra kama means intense. Well, in the material world, it means intense what? Lust. Well, smita, sundara smita. I am smitten, basically. Same word in English, actually. Sundara, the beautiful smita. I'm smitten by your beauty, and I have this intense love of you, which is an intense desire, generated by your beautiful smiling glances, that Sundara Smita. O jewel among men, please make us your maidservants. Taking shelter of perfect Gopi Bhava is described. So in other words, what's being described here is what it means to follow in the footsteps of the gopis. To be smitten by Krishna's beauty, beautiful smiling face, and more things that are described here. These are different qualities of Krishna's transcendental body. Vikshala kavrita mukam tava kundala shri ganda staladara shuddham asita valokam tatavayan cha bhujadanda yugam vilokya vaksha shiyaika ramanham cha vavamadasya. Seeing your face encircled by curling locks of hair, your cheeks, description of Krishna's beautiful form and face, and wow, your cheeks beautified by earrings, your lips full of nectar. Oh my God. And your smiling glance, and also seeing your two imposing arms, Bhujadanda Yugam, which take away our fear, and your chest, which is the only source of pleasure. Wow. For the goddess of fortune, Shiaika Ramanam, the pleasure for the goddess of fortune, we must become your maidservants. Wow. So this is perfectly illustrating how one gets attracted to Krishna on this stage. It's just like, it's like gravity, or intense gravity. You can't fight against it. Or something like being, actually another example comes to my mind. It's like if someone is in a centrifuge. I don't know if you know what a centrifuge is, but it's where you get many G's of force. What does that mean, many G's? Okay. It's some, anyway, there's something called centrifugal force, which when something spins, it pushes out the force of things inside it, like a wheel that spins. And so the faster it spins, the more, if you're on the outside or inside of that wheel, the more pressure you feel, the more gravity you feel, that you can't separate yourself from it. They have amusement park rides like this. And so attraction to Krishna is something like that. It's just like, wow, it's a force that you cannot fight against. So in this, Parakya Bhav is excellent. Parakya Bhav, of course, means the love that Krishna has, or the relationship that Krishna has with the gopis. Kurvanti tvai ratim kushalas atmaan nityapriyaye pati sutta divir arti daikim tanna prasira parameshvara masma chindya ashamritam tvayi chirad aravinda netra. Wow, aravinda netra. Wow. Your eyes. Wow. That's Aravinda Netra. What an interesting expression. That should be a name of someone. Aravindra Netra. Lotus-eyed one means. Expert Sanskrit is beautiful. Expert transcendentalists always direct their affection toward you because they recognize you as their true self and eternal beloved. What use do we have for these husbands, children, and relatives of ours who simply give us trouble? Therefore, O Supreme Controller, grant us your mercy, O Lotus-eyed One. Please do not cut down our long-cherished hope to have your association. Of course, these are the words of the gopis. You should not think like that if you have a husband or children. You got to take care of them, but you see them as belonging to Krishna. Don't look at them just like, oh, they're interfering with my devotional service. They are your devotional service. Actually, Prabhupada said, for some lady who has children, especially babies, their service is, instead of deity service, it's baby puja. Anyway, it's kind of funny. But still, but at the same time, doing it for Krishna. So one, as we mentioned yesterday, one should act in such a way that one internally is absorbed in that mood, but externally, one is functioning as a perfect member of society. It is necessary to take shelter of Radha's lotus feet. Wow. What a verse. Anaradya Radha Padambojo Renum Anashita Grindadavin Tatpadan Kam Asambasha Tadbhava Gambira Chitan Kutasyama Sindo Rasya Vrishyavagaha. How can one immerse oneself in Madhurya Ras of Krishna without worshipping the dust of Radha's lotus feet, without taking shelter of Vrindavan marked with her footprints, without speaking to devotees whose hearts have love for her? And that's from Rupa Goswami's Devavali, which is a collection of different poems. Wow. Wow. Thinking oneself as a maidservant of Radha is described. This is a very high platform, devotional leaders. Please do not emulate or think yourself on this platform unless you happen to be on the platform. But we keep that on our heads and our hearts as a goal in Krishna consciousness. Abhimanam Purityaja. That basically means, Abhimana means your identity, your false identity. Purityaja, give it up. What are you giving up? Prakrta vapur adishu. That your material body and all the things connected with the material body. It's not actually say that in the translation, but that's what it means. Prakrta vapur. Your material body, vapur, adishu, and the other things that are connected with your body. Your upadis, your designations, that I am white or black or a member of this family, like that. Wow. Shri Krishna Kripaya. Wow. Actually, the Sanskrit is just amazing. I just have to get my own translation. Lord Krishna, or Lord Krishna's mercy, by Lord Mercy's body, by Lord Mercy, by the Lord's mercy, Gopi Deha Braje, I will get realize myself as Gopi Dehe Braje in Braj, or as a Gopi Gopi body in Braj, and this is what I will have. Radhikanu Chari, I will be a follower of Radharani, or which is also translated here as maidservant, Bhutva. Parikya Rasa Sada, I will always be established in this Parikya Rasa, always in the pastimes. How does he? Yeah, same thing. I always serve in the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. And in the Radha Krishna Vilasesha, the pastimes of Radha Krishna, Paricharya Karom Yaham, I will be situated. Wow. Wow. Actually, in Sanskrit, it's quite simple Sanskrit. Even I can understand it. Wow. Durada Pasya Swajanam Sukhamarta Kotim Sarveshu Sadhana Vareshu Chiram Nirasha Varshantameva Sahajadbuta Sokyataram Shri Radhika Charana Renam Aham Bhajami. Wow, look at these verses. Giving up completely relatives, Swajanam, Sukham, happiness, Artha Kotim, that means many material objects. He has a very easy Sanskrit. Swajanam means my relatives. Sukham Artha, the happiness of Kotim, material goods, and Kotim. Sarveshu sadhana. It's indifferent to all the best methods to attain them. Sarveshu, all the practices, the best methods. Sarveshu, all the best methods of to obtain those things. You know, I remember the dust from the feet of Radhika. So cute. I don't know. Shri Radhika Charana Renam Aham Bhajami. It's a beautiful, the last verse is just like, wow. Radhika Charana means, Radhika Charana Renam means the dust of the feet of Radhika, which Aham Bhajami, I will worship. Wow. Actually, here it says, I remember the dust. but I remember the dust, but I will worship the dust to the feet of Shirati Radharani. Shirada Rasa Shuddha Nidhi. This is a very elevated subject, but I don't know if I should be reading this in class. But anyway, it's very elevated. So another verse from the Radha Rasa Shuddha Nidhi. Asasya Dasyam Rishabhanu Jayas Tire Samadayasha Cha Manujaya Kadanu Vrindavana Kunja Vitishu Aham Nuradhe Yati Dear Vaveyam. O Radha, when expecting to be a servant of the daughter of Rishabhanu, sitting on the bank of the Yamuna, will I become a guest on the paths to the Vrindavan bowers? Wow. Dasham, Dasham, Rishabhanu Jayas. Shoo. Aham Nurale Yati Tir Vavedyam. This is the beautiful verses. Beautiful, beautiful verses. Anyways, we're just going to read them. I guess I shouldn't comment too much on them. Dhyayantam Shiki Pichi Moli Manisham Tanama Sankirtayan Nicham Tachcharanam Ujam Paricharan Tan Mantra Varyam Japan Shirada Padasham Eva Parama Vishtam Vidadharayam Karhisham Tad Anugrahena Paramad Bhutanu Gosava. Meditating constantly on Krishna with the peacock feather in his crown, chanting loudly his name, constantly serving his lotus feet, uttering softly his excellent mantra, holding in my heart service to Radha's lotus feet as my cherished desire, when by his mercy will I become filled with the most astonishing anuraga. Shoo. Radha Rasa Shuddha Nidhi 259. Atasya para rasashara vilasavurte ananda kanda parabadhuta sokya lakshmya pramadi durlabha gater vishapanu jaya kain karyam eva mama janmi janmi janmani shat. Birth after birth may I have King Karyam Kinkara, yeah, Eva Mama. Will I have birth after birth? Will I be able to serve this way? May I have service to Radha, the playful form of supreme rasa, a wealth of astonishing gentleness and intense bliss, unattainable by Brahma and others. A Brahmadi Durlabha Gater Vishabhanu Jaya. Very difficult, yet unobtainable by Brahma. Gater, the goal, cannot be obtained. Durlabha, very difficult to obtain, or not obtainable by Brahma. Wow. All right. Radhanama Shuddha Rasam Rasayutum Divas Tume Vivara Pado Tat Pada Kankshita Sucharatam Brinda Tavi Viti Shu Tat Karamaiva Karakaroti Radiyam Tashapadam Jayatam Tad Mavotsava Ta Param Pravatume Tat Pramanati Rati. May I have a tongue eager to taste the sweet rasa of Radha's name. May my feet walk on the Vrindavan paths, marked with her footprints. May my hands serve her. May my mind meditate on her feet. May I have attraction for the Lord of her life, arising from her great love, for her. Now notice in all these verses you have this mood of lolum. What does lolum mean? Intense hankering. According to Srila Rupa Goswami, intense hankering for things in this world is a cause of fall down. He says these things destroy devotional service, collecting too much or eating too much or being ritualistic in bhakti, or not following the rules of bhakti, or over endeavoring for mundane things, uh, or associating with people or things that are not Krishna conscious, or loyum, intense hankering for material things. I must have, I must have, I must have. Actually, people who are intensely hankering for material things, they're like little babies who are crying for a toy, and sometimes the mother gives them that toy. Mommy, can I please have it? I'll throw a fit if I don't have it. Just like even Srila Prabhupada, when he was young, he wanted to have 2 water pistols. And they gave him one, and Prabhupada said, I want one for each hand. And he cried and even hit his head on the ground. So we're doing that for Maya. But right now, we should be doing it for Krishna. I want you, Krishna. Loyum for Krishna. Okay, another verse from the Vilapa Kushmanjali. Devi Dukkha Kula Sagara Dade Duryamana Mati Durgatam Janam Twat Kripa Pravala No Kayad Bhutam Prapaya Swapada Pankajaya. O Devi, bring this most unfortunate person burning in a great ocean of suffering to your astonishing lotus feet by the boat of your strong mercy. That's another prayer to Srimati Radharani. Beautiful prayers to Srimati Radharani. Padabtiyos tava bina baradashyam meva nanyat karapi samaye kila deviyache sankyayate mama namostu nicham dasyayate mama rasostu satcham. Wow. Amazing poetry. Oh, Devi, I never ask for anything except your excellent service to your lotus feet. I offer respects continually to friendship with you. May the joy of my service to you be eternal. That's a Vilapa Kushmanjali. Ha Devi Kaku Mara Gad Gadayad Yavacha Yacheni Patya Bhuvidandavad Udbadharti Asha Prasadama Budasha Janasha Kritva Gandharvagitavagane Gananam Videhi. O Devi, with a choked, pitiful voice falling on the ground like a stick in great pain, I beg you, O Radha, being merciful to this foolish person, make me one of your associates. Oh my God, this loyum, intense hankering, this intense begging to Srimati Radharani. Wow. So this is the price. Prabhupada said the price of pure devotional service is tears, or are tears. And you manifest these tears of wanting pure Krishna consciousness so much. Such an elevated platform. Venam karan nipatatam skalitam shikandam prastancha pitta vasanam brajaraja suno dyashaka paksha saragata vimorchitasya tam radhikam paricharami vadarasena. When will I serve Radha with ras? Because of her, Krishna, fainting by the injury of her arrow-like glance, drops the flute from his hand, drops the peacock feather from his head, and drops his yellow cloth from his body. And of course, therefore, Radha is called what? Madan, Mohan, Mohini. So, anyway, Madan usually refers to Cupid, and Krishna is called Madan Mohan, who can attract Cupid. And Radharani is the person who can attract the person who attracts Cupid, and therefore, or not only attract, she's called Madan Mohan Mohini. So Mohini means like bewilder, not just attract. just like you have the Mohini incarnation of Krishna, who attracted even Lord Shiva, what to speak of the demigods and the demons. And so Radha is Vadan Mohan, Mohini. The behavior of a person who has attraction for serving Radha is described. So this is the behavior and the consciousness. Tvayo payukta shragandavaso lankara chitta uchistavojino dasas tavamayam jayelahi. Simply by decorating ourselves with the garlands, fragrant oils, clothes, and ornaments that you have already enjoyed, and by eating the remnants of your meals, we, your servants, will indeed conquer your illusory energy. So this, of course, is in relationship to Krishna, too. Okay, and now we're talking about the afternoon pastimes, and this ends the afternoon time. And there's going to be 2 more chapters to go. Okay. Shiranam praptat geham nija ramanakrite klipta nanopaharam shusnataramya vesham priyamukha kamalalaka purna pramodam Shri Krishna Chayava Paratne Rajamanu Chalitam Denum Brindar Vayasyai Shri Radhaloka Triptam Pitri Mukha Militam Matri Mishtam Smarami. Going home, this is what happens at this particular time in the afternoon in Krishna's day. Going home, preparing various gifts for Krishna, taking a bath, and putting on fine clothing, Radha becomes happy from having glanced at her beloved. As the afternoon passed, Krishna proceeded to Braja with the cows and his friends. Satisfied with having seen Radha, he met his father and elders, and the elder women caressed him. I constantly remember the afternoon pastimes. So in other words, Krishna's heading home, but little do the other residents of Vrindavan realize that he has just met with Radha in the noon pastimes. So this is the afternoon pastimes. He heads home. And they think he's just like taking care of the cows and behaving himself. So, now we go to, after that we go to Bhava. This is called Shashta Yama Sadhana, Bhajan during the evening. So, in this particular chapter, deals with bhava, or transcendental emotions, which we're going to describe in this particular chapter, is related with the verse in the Shikshashtakam by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Nayanam Galudasudaraya Vadanam Gadgadavridya Gira Pulakar Nichitam Vabukada Tavanama Grahane Vavishyati. When will my eyes be filled with tears, my throat blocked with a faltering voice? That means Gadgada. And all the, Gadgada is like poetic, monopoetic, which means the sound of the word is exactly what it means, and anyway, it sounds like what it means. That's Gadgada is joking. My words, vadana, or my voice, vadanam, gadgada, gira. And all the hairs of my body, pulaka nishitum vapukada, stand on end, Tama Nama, your name, Grahane Bhavishyati. When will it be? Bhavishyati is future. When will it be that Tava Nama Grahane Bhavishyati? When by chanting your name I will experience these things. And of course this is a constant hankering that's elaborated on by different acharyas. Even the poem we read today, Gauranga Balite Habi, Pulaka Sharir Hari Hari Dayani Bhave when will that day come when I chant Hare Krishna Pulaka Shariya, the hairs on my body stand on end? Bhaktivinoda Thakur actually specialized in songs like that of intense spiritual hankering. Another one is Kavi Havi Bolo Say Dinamar Aparada Guche Harinama Ruchi. When will that day be mine? When I will give up my aparatas, offenses. Harinama Ruchi. When will I have a taste for chanting? So without the treasure of prema, my life is useless. Making me a maidservant or servant, give me the treasure of prema. So let's describe some of that. Anyway, let's read this next sentence and then we'll describe something. The sarup, that means the form of bhava, is described. Premastu pratama bhava ityabhijyate satvikas swalpa matra sur atrashu pulakadaya. The preliminary stage of prema, that means right before you get to prema, is called bhava. There are a few sattvic bhavas, such as tears in the eyes and hairs standing on end. That's from the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So let me talk about bhava. Bhava, of course, means emotions. Bhava. So there's different categories, according to Srila Rupa Goswami, of emotions in terms of relationship with Krishna. The first category is called a vibhava. That means what stimulates your emotions in relationship to Krishna. For example, if you see the deities, that's a vibhava. If you see a flute, even if it's not Krishna's flute, it can be a vibhava because it reminds you of Krishna. If you see a big peacock feather, that's a vibhava, like one of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's associates, Mukunda. He simply saw a peacock fan that was being used to fan the Muslim governor, and he fainted because it stimulated his love. And of course, vibhava has two aspects, which are called in Sanskrit alambana and udipana. Alambana means directly Krishna, and udipa means things that you can see as related to Krishna. Like a flute. For example, one time I was at Govardhan, and I heard the sound of a flute, and I felt ecstasy. I thought, this is Krishna playing his flute. And then I realized it was the PA system of the subdivision which I was in. Unfortunately, it wasn't actually Krishna. So anyway, so that's called a vibhava. And then anubhava means really what you do about that emotion, such as dancing, raising your hands, voluntary actions. And then there's something called the sattvic bhavas, which means your constitutional ecstasies, which are just part of your nature. There's 8 of them, basically. And they have different categories like that. And then there's the sanshuri bhavas, that's another category, which is, there's 33 of those, and those are the uncontrolled, intermittent ecstasies. You don't know when they're coming, and they may render you unconscious. So don't be driving a car while you're experiencing ecstasies. It could be quite dangerous. That's called a sanshuri bhava or a vyabhacharya, which is the same thing. Sanshuri means it moves throughout your whole body and you have no control of it. And it's like a stroke or something like that, as far as the lack of control. And then there's another thing called the sthaya bhava, which describes your steady emotion in terms of whatever your relationship, rati, is with Krishna, whether you're established in the peaceful, shanta, rati, or whether you're in dasha or servitude, rati, or whether you're in the sakya, friendship, rati, parental rati, parental rati, vatsalya, or whether you're in madhurya rati, which is conjugal. So these are brief description that the Nectar of Devotion gives of bhavas. Nectar of Devotion is Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Characteristics of bhava, or emotions. And these emotions that you will all experience if you continue in Krishna consciousness. And these emotions are preliminary to prema, because in prema, one doesn't care whether they experience emotions or not, because really they just want Krishna's pleasure. That's prema. Shantir avyarta kalatvam viraktir mana sunyata. That's interesting. There's no attachment to the material world. Ashabandha, one has intense hope against hope. Samutkanta nama gane sadaruchi. Asaktis tad gunakyane. Pritis tad vasati stale. Ichadayo dubhava surjata bhavan kule jane. The anubhavas, or characteristics of a person who has developed the bud of bhava, are as follows. Tolerance. Now remember I mentioned anubhava means the things that follow your actual emotions and your voluntary actions, which is tolerance, not wasting time, detachment from enjoyment, pridelessness, confidence in the Lord's mercy, longing for the Lord, taste for chanting the name of the Lord, attachment to discussing about the Lord's qualities, and attachment to living in the abode of the Lord. So these are all characteristics of someone who is experiencing or manifesting anubhavas. One is able to tolerate. How are you able to tolerate? Because you're absorbed internally in just loving Krishna, thinking of Krishna's pleasure. So external things are very easy to tolerate. And you're not wasting time because time belongs to Krishna. Detachment for enjoyment because you're interested in Krishna's enjoyment. Pridelessness because you're interested in praising Krishna and being proud of Krishna. Confidence in the Lord's mercy. That's really important. Ashabandha, that's called Ashabandha. Because that keeps one going in spite of one struggling. A longing for the Lord. I must have you. Ainanda Tanuja Kingaram. Taste for chanting the name of the Lord. Attachment to discussing about the Lord's qualities. And attachment to living in the abode of the Lord. Or making the place where one lives an abode of the Lord. If one happens to live in a house. The anubhavas that manifest when bhava increases are described. So they actually increase. Here's some of the ones. Nrityam virutitam gitam kroshanam hanu motanam hunkara drimpanam swasa bhuma lokana pekshita alashavos tahasascha purna hikadayopicha. External transformations such as known as anubhavas are actions. These are voluntary actions, such as dancing, rolling on the ground, singing, shouting, stretching the body, bellowing. Don't try that in front of the deities. Yawning. That doesn't mean you're tired. It just means a symptom of ecstasy. But this is for pure devotees. Not that when you yawn, you're actually experiencing a symptom of ecstasy. You're just tired or you're just bored. Breathing heavily, disregarding others, drooling, laughing loudly, whirling around, and hiccups. It doesn't mean each time you do these things that you're experiencing spiritual bhava, but these are symptoms. If you have them, they don't prove you have bhava, but they're symptoms that occur from time to time, and they're voluntary. Okay, that's in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 2.2.2. And now we'll stop and see if anyone has any questions about this ecstatic portion of this literature. Bhajan Rahasya. The secrets of Bhajan. This is actually the secrets of Bhajan. That's the translation of the Bhajan Rahasya. All right. So, if anyone has any questions, you can raise your hand or type in the text window, and I will give you permission to unmute yourself if you want to ask a question verbally. If you want to ask a question through the text window, feel free to do so by typing. So, does anyone have any questions? Now's your opportunity. Hmm. Questions, comments. Otherwise, we do end early if you don't have any questions. Okay, Ratnagopi, you have a question. So you can now unmute.
Hi, Krishna Gurti. My
Hare
obeisance
Krishna.
is you. I was
Oh,
wondering, you had
yeah.
mentioned in the reading that one of the ways to devote yourself to Krishna is to make your home an abode of the Lord. So I was
Yeah.
wondering, practical applications for that. Does that include having a deity in the home, or is there other ways?
Well, you're having an altar at home, and a deity can be just a picture. Usually, if someone can't really do any deity service because they're too busy doing something else, then they just have a picture. A picture is a deity. Actually, Prabhupada said Krishna is just as much present in a picture of himself, whether it's a photograph or a painting, as he is in the three-dimensional representation that we generally know as a deity, and the spiritual master present in the picture. So you have a little, it's called a puja room or an altar. People call it different things. And then you dedicate your life. You got pictures of Krishna everywhere. And obviously, you don't break the regular principles, either in your place or outside the place. And you cook prasadam, and everything in the house is dedicated, and your house becomes like a place of pilgrimage. So just like we make temples in so many different places in the world, so you make your house a temple, and therefore it becomes a sacred place. Okay? You probably can't reply because you can only unmute yourself once. Hopefully that answered your question, unless you want to raise your hand again. Gurudev, oh my God, you're so Ajay Krishna. Uh-oh. From India. We're in trouble now. Today's class is decorated with the glory. Thank you. Can we chant Jai Radhe Kirtan all the time of day, not in Japa Mala and chant on that? No, you should chant Hare Krishna, because Hare Krishna is Radha and Krishna. The mantra that we are initiated in is the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and you get Radha and Krishna. It's a prayer to Radharani. Why separate Radharani from Krishna? I mean, sometimes the end of Kirtan I'll chant Jai Radha Golokananda, Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe, yes. But when we chant Hare Krishna, it's a prayer to Radharani. Hare Krishna, my dear Srimati Radharani, please engage me in Krishna's service. So what's wrong with the Maha Mantra? Ain't nothing wrong with the Maha Mantra. It's perfect. You don't have to look for more mantras. I mean, Prabhupada was in Vrindavan, he would just greet everyone with Hare Krishna. I mean, sometimes when I go to Vrindavan or Govardhan, someone says Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe, I'll say back to them just to be part of the culture there. But actually, the best thing is to say Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, because it's Krishna and Radharani, just like Prabhupada said. We don't want to worship Lakshmi without Narayan. We don't want Radharani without Krishna. So if you want to become a servant of Radharani, you have to include Krishna there too. Okay, we got another question from Adi Dev. And you have permission. You can unmute yourself now, I think.
Hare
Yeah.
Krishna Gurudev. Thank you for
Haribol.
leading. Haribol. So, my question is like, we hear this bhajan rahasya, then how do we begin to apply this in our sadhana? Like, Bhaktivinoda Thakur has drawn parallels between three things like Madhurya Katambini and Shishastakam and the eightfold pastimes of Krishna.
Yeah.
So, how do we actually apply in our day-to-day life these three parallels thing?
Well, as we
when
were reciting
when we
the
are chanting. Yeah.
well, the parallels as far as the let's talk about several of the different parallels. One of the parallels is the different Ashtakaliya Leela, the different times of the day of Krishna. That may not be appropriate for us right now.
Hmm.
We understand that as we advance, that will become more appropriate for us to meditate on the different times of the day. I mean, you could actually think as you go through your day, now Krishna's doing this at this time, if that helps you remember Krishna. But you definitely don't want to start to think of yourself as a gopi at this particular point, unless you actually are on that platform. So one has to be very, very careful. So
Hmm.
when chanting, one devotee said when he chants the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, he thinks of each verse of the Shashaka as he goes through each pair of names. He may be able to do that, but none of us, at least I can't, chant without taking 200 hours to chant 16 rounds to do that. So, I mean, I don't know who can do such a thing like that. Uh,
Yeah,
so,
it's a
so basic.
strain on the mind, actually. Yeah, you'll get a
What's
headache
that?
after some time. If you try to do that, you get a
Yeah,
headache after some time. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. You get a headache. So anyway, so the point is, it helps us understand the shikshashtika more, so that we can come to a higher platform of chanting. Because each and every, especially I think it's relevant to understand the correspondences that are there between each verse of the shikshashtika and each stage of devotional service, and therefore we can resonate as we're chanting with a particular verse depending on what stage we're at in devotional service. Uh,
Hmm.
we have to recognize what stage we're at, and that verse should actually resonate with us. For example,
Hmm.
if we're really like suffering in this world, then you may want to concentrate on this verse, the Shikshashtagai Nanda Tanujakinkaram. I am your servant. I'm suffering in this horrible material world. Please fix me up as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. That may be your platform of devotional service. Or you may
Hmm.
be able to concentrate on Nainam Galuda Shudarya. When will the day be mine? When I'm chanting, tears coming from my eyes like torrents of rain. So one should understand the different bhavas or emotions that are, let's say, manifest in each and every verse of the Shikshashtaka, and this Bhajan Rahasya will help us understand the mood of the devotees in understanding the verse of the Shikshashtaka and what platform we're at, what we can
Hmm.
resonate with. Anyway, okay?
Yeah. Got it. Thank you, Guru. Yeah.
Thank you. So one other person is asking a question. That's Sumuka. Wait, Sumuka, you can unmute yourself. Whoops. Sumuka, you should be able to unmute
Guru, Ma-
yourself now. Yeah,
Guru Maharaj ki jai.
Jai. Anybody?
Gurudev. I have this question regarding the Vaishno Acharya songbook. We have the songs Ebaro
Yeah,
Karuna Karo, Parama Karuna, all these songs. And in the temples, when I joined initially in 1980s, when Nandakishore Prabhu used to give the class, he used to sing one Vaishno song
yeah,
every class. And then Jarada Madhav in the midday class also used to sing. But in
yeah.
nowadays, I've seen nobody singing those songs. Except when you come to Fiji, you sing. When you look at the
I sing
deities
'em.
in the Delta.
I sing 'em.
Yes.
I sing 'em. I sing them. So I'm not nobody, but I do sing them sometimes. Yeah, so
Yeah, but
I mean, devotees have to have more attraction for these Vaishnav songs, and I think one reason is that very few people know how to sing properly in Fiji.
true, true, true.
I think my experience in Fiji is that people need some singing lessons.
Yeah, I'm going to the cultural center to learn the music.
Yeah, and singing lessons like voice lessons or something like that. I mean,
Yeah, the
Nanda
vocal
Kishore,
as well.
yeah, not yeah, the vocal. I think the vocal is the main thing rather than instrumentation. Nanda Kishore has a pretty good voice, so
Mm-hmm.
yes, I think devotees should learn these things and should recite notable prayers. It's one of the processes of devotional service mentioned in the Nectar of Devotion. I agree. So maybe we can stress that next time I visit Fiji. Talk to the
Okay.
devotees. All right,
Okay.
thank you. All right, time to end. Thank you all very much. All glories to
Thank
His Divine Grace. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. Shila Prabhupada, Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai.